Are you asking me a question, or are you just telling me your feelings?
I don't ask you a question, I just feel...
Oh, you're just telling me your feelings. Okay, I'm listening.
Guys, people keep on asking me, oh Ebird, why don't you like Riley? This kind of attitude, guys, is the reason that I don't like Riley. And until it changes, I never will. Anyway, let's get to it. Dysfunctional relationship number 3 coming up. Yes, guys, we're back once again with Riley and Violet. And this week Riley lets us know that he only has 3 days left in Vietnam. And he wants to try and sort things out with Violet before he leaves. Oh, Riley, really? Given that you break up every 1 to 2 working days, you've only got about half a day left in real terms. So your chances are shit at best. So yes, it's 90 Day Fiance, Before the 90 Days, Season 6, Episode 13. So before we get into this week's bitter argument, I'd like to take the time out to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel. My figures are rising and I'm very pleased with where it's going. But if you've yet to do so, please consider subscribing and join the Ebird family. Also, if you know anybody else who you think would enjoy this video, please consider sharing on social media. Finally, please don't forget to smash that like button. It really does help me with the algorithm. Thanks guys. Right, so without further ado, I give you Riley and Violet. So the first time we see the couple this week, they're walking through a market. They look at the different fruits and vegetables on display, and Violet picks up a fruit which looks suspiciously like a jackfruit. She offered Riley to try and he did so. And guys, apparently it tasted like his dog's excrement, sautéed in garlic butter. He turned up his nose, and Violet looked somewhat upset.
Okay, so we can move on.
You don't like...
No offense to anybody out there that like durian fruit. I'm just saying, for me, it tasted like if I imagine eating my dog's excrements, but I sautéed it in garlic butter.
And guys, I thought to myself, this is typical Riley. He can't just eat it and chill out. He has to turn his nose up. He has to be such a drama queen. But then guys, he came over all unnecessary. They sat down. He looked a bit ill. He said he was feeling sick and then he asked for a glass of water. And I thought to myself, this is weird. This is quite the reaction. And so as per usual, I did a bit of snooping around. And I discovered the fruit was called durian fruit. And when I looked on YouTube, it was described as the world's smelliest fruit. So I want to give a quick shout out to Men Try Videos. I'm going to link the video in information down below. But guys, just have a look at their experience of eating the durian fruit.
I love powdered chocolate.
Oh my gosh, the smell is pretty.
Like donuts, maybe? Done.
Get out of here.
Apparently, it's the worst thing they've ever tasted. And these guys did say it did have a garlic butter taste about it. So it turns out Riley wasn't exaggerating at all. But that takes me directly to you, Violet. You ain't shit for that. Don't give somebody something that's going to make them ill and then sit across the table from them, pulling a face as if they're being ridiculous. Guys, I find it very hard to believe that she's never heard before that Westerners do not like this durian fruit. I think she knew good and well. Yes, I can't help but feel she's been very conniving. But then on the other hand, I guess, she's probably so bored by now of Riley accusing her of feeding him dog shit that she actually, well, just did. Literally. So anyway, they sat down to have a chat and Riley was still feeling really ill. He was fanning himself and he got some water. And he said, the smells around the market are making me feel really ill. And guys, I kind of know what he means because once you've eaten something disgusting, every single smell turns your stomach. But I've got to say, I don't know if there's any actual excuse for literally holding your nose, literally putting your finger under your nose. Riley, come on now. But anyway, Violet decides to speak to production and she said there's only 2 days left until Riley goes home. And she wants to spend a lot of time with him, but she said, he always destroys our good moments. Violet, you destroyed the good moments by feeding him dog shit sautéed in garlic butter. Violet's a certified loon at the best of times, but if you're feeding him things which are feces adjacent, don't expect for it to get any better. Anyway, Riley gets his water and the couple sit opposite each other, basically scowling. And Violet said, I don't know why you think bad things about me. And Riley said, I'm listening, Violet. And then she said, you never believe me. And he said, believe you about what? And she said, about everything. Violet, that's because you're possibly not entirely trustworthy. But she continued, I wonder what happened with your exes that makes you distrust me so much. And Riley said, oh, you want to know, do you? Well, here goes.
I used to hear her on the phone with another person, and she'll say, I love you. And I go, who was that? And she was like, what? I was like, you was on the phone. She was like, no, I wasn't. It's in your mind. And then I went to visit her, and I came into her house, and there was a guy in her closet. And I knew the guy. I knew him.
But guys, all of the time while Riley was speaking, Violet was looking as if to say, so what? That wasn't me. She certainly seems to be missing an empathy bone, that's for sure. But what I really want to discuss is the fact that Riley said, because of this, I don't trust anybody. It's hard for me to trust you. He waffled on for about 2 minutes, and guys, I can condense this for you to quite a short phrase. He should have just said, I'm not ready to date anyone. I need to work on myself first. But of course, that would be too simple for Riley. Guys, what I find really strange is the fact that he says he can't trust women. What about the guy you were cheated on by your friend and your girlfriend? So really what you should be saying is, I don't trust anybody at all. And then Riley said this.
But you have to earn my trust. And once you have it and you do something to break my trust, it takes a lot to gain it back. But the only way that I can help you earn my trust back is by me asking questions. But you get upset because you say it's the questions about the past.
But here's the problem with that. You've asked her questions. Firstly, you asked her why she said she was divorced, when in fact she wasn't, the divorce was still going through. And she explained to you that she told you it was going through, but it was a language barrier. And if she was lying to you, she would have never said 3 months later, oh, I got my papers, my divorce is through. You would never otherwise have known. And so she's explained it to you, but yet you still ask and ask and ask because you want a different answer. You want her to say, yes, I lied, when in fact, according to her, she didn't. Secondly, you asked her, why was she still on the dating app? Again, she's answered you. She said that she logged back on so that she could delete her profile because it was still live. She's given you an answer, but you want her to say, yes, I was still scouting around for other guys. That may or may not be the truth, but she's given you an answer. But again, you still ask and ask and ask because you don't accept her answer. You insist that she doesn't answer your questions, but she does. Is she lying? Maybe. I think it all seems pretty shady. But what you then need to do, Riley, is to decide, you're a liar, I'm leaving you. You can't keep asking the same questions in a very dogged and aggressive manner. So then Riley asked Violet, yet again, if she regretted her actions when she sent those texts to his dad. And she said, I shouldn't have done it, I'm very sorry. And he said, that's good enough for me. Is it really, Riley? You've browbeaten her into apologising for something which she doesn't think is wrong. And Riley says he feels happy because if they have open and honest communication, they can start their life together. And in a rare moment of happiness, the couple leave the market hand in hand. And so next time we see the couple, they decide to take an open-top bus ride around Ho Chi Minh City. And the couple put on sun hats and they ride around the city and they take in all the sights. And guys, I've got to say, it looks like a beautiful city. They seem to be having fun and they seem to be getting on really well. And then Violet lies to production and she says, I think Riley's a good man. Well then tell your face, Violet. Please let your face know. And she hopes they can grow closer and strengthen their relationship even after he leaves Vietnam. I don't really think she believes any of this. And there was one point when Riley said to her, even though we argue and have big blow-ups, we always come back together. It must mean something, right? And she looked at him as if to say, does it really? And then she gave what I think was quite a fake smile. Guys, she's definitely in this just for that green card. She wants her and her daughters to have a better life in America. I'm certain of it. And it seems to me that Riley's far too busy questioning her on what she did 2 years ago when they knew each other for 2 weeks on the dating app to really think about her motives and how she behaves towards him now in real time. In my mind, Riley should really be focusing on the fact that she's coming to America with no savings and no money and 2 adult daughters, and she wants him to support them all whilst they get their green cards and get on their feet. To me, that's much more of a pressing matter. But then Riley's got something he wants to get off his chest.
To be totally honest with you, I did call a private investigator. Someone to look into your background. But I didn't do it. I thought about it for a quick second, but I didn't do it.
Oh my God, Violet is absolutely pissed at this. And she said, you don't have the right to do that in Vietnam. And then she said, we're not suitable to be together if you do something like that. And Riley said, I just wanted to be honest with you. That's the reason I told you. Riley, she's not interested in why you told her. She's interested in why you did it. But Riley just keeps on saying, I wanted to be open and honest. And then Riley told one of the biggest lies that's ever been told on this franchise.
I understand that in your country it's considered disrespectful, but in my country with my culture, it is something that we do. We check on people to make sure that they are who they say they are, and it is a common thing in my country.
Riley, no it isn't. It's unacceptable wherever you live to get a private detective to snoop on your partner. Riley's just told us he wants to be open and honest, and he delivers this on the back of one of the biggest lies of all time. You couldn't make it up. Guys, my hypocrisy detector's pointing right at big buffoon Riley. He really is a particularly slap-worthy individual. This relationship is made in hell. And so Violet's turned all the way off. She sits there and tells Riley, I don't feel good now, I just want to go home. And then she tells production, he's never trusted me or respected me. This relationship just can't continue. And she's right. This relationship is absolute horseshit. When the bad times outweigh the good by the power of 10 to 1, there's literally no point in continuing. Violet said this is the last straw. And guys, she stood up on that bus and she turned her back to him and she said, Riley, just be quiet, don't talk anymore. And that's where we end things for this week. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? Well. Riley always waits until they're having a good time to try and dredge up the past and ruin the mood. When he finally browbeats Violet into apologising, which the truth be told she should have done, he then tries to brush over the fact that he had a conversation with a PI on camera, on film. He says, I want to be open and honest. But then he lies through his teeth and he tells Violet it's completely normal and acceptable in America to have somebody followed by a private detective. Riley, define honesty. Please help me. Now don't get me wrong. I know that Violet's in this just for the green card, and I believe that wholeheartedly with every sinew of my being. But I think Riley knows this. If you go to Southeast Asia looking for a partner, and you both agree that they will move to America, it's obvious that that person's only on an international dating site because they want to go to America. They didn't meet on holiday or in passing. They were both looking for a specific thing. But notwithstanding this fact, Riley seems to be on some sort of mission to find out, does Violet really love me? Now guys, as you all know, the Ebird is nothing if not helpful. No, she doesn't. If I consider the look on her face, when your face is contorted with rage, and you're talking to her like this, through clenched teeth, and you're jabbing your finger in her face, when I consider all of that, I don't think she likes you. I don't see how anybody could. I don't. Do I think she's always telling the truth? No, I don't. But the things she's not telling the truth about are things that happened years ago, years in the past. They're things that have been addressed and should now be left alone. But to me, by far, the major thing that Riley should be concerned about is the fact that Violet is almost certainly using him for a green card. Now this in and of itself is quite usual for this franchise. However, usually when it happens, everybody knows about it. So the guy's 55, the girl's 19, and they're pretending to be in love. He wants a hot young thing, and she wants a green card. We understand. We understand that transaction. With this transaction, there is a little bit of a problem, because Violet has to pretend, I really do like you, Riley. I think we can be a family together, when all the time I think she knows there'll be no family. Those three girls will get on their feet, and they'll do the off. Meanwhile, Riley hasn't seen fit to, which he could easily do, try and chase some 25-year-old. He has got someone that's age appropriate and someone that's similar-ish to him in looks. And so in essence, he's labouring under the misapprehension that this could be a legit relationship, and it isn't. And that's what he should concern himself with. And that's what his good friend Tiffany, the attack dog, should be advising him. She should be saying, Riley, forget about all this trivial shit. Was she on the dating site 2 weeks after you met online? Forget about it. Think about this. She will rinse out your 401k. She will finish all your savings. And she'll leave you with nothing. In fact, worse than nothing. You already don't trust American or Western women. Soon enough, you're not going to trust Southeast Asian women either. Poor Riley, it's all to come. But the final point I want to make this week concerns my feelings towards Riley. And people keep asking, why do you dislike Riley so much? And one commenter, who'll remain nameless, suggested that Violet has managed to pull the wool over my eyes, and I believe everything she says, and I see all the good in her and all the bad in Riley. You couldn't be more wrong. I have no love for Violet. I don't think she tells the truth. She's also sometimes unnecessarily rude. She always looks kind of shady, as if she's trying to work out what she's going to say next, whenever Riley undertakes his frequent inquisitions of her actions. However, I find Riley a far more sinister, problematic character than Violet. Violet's just a plain old common garden liar, and on that we can all agree. Riley is emotionally draining, to the point of exhaustion, and he holds grudges like no other. You cannot have any adult relationship in which you're going to revisit the past on a daily basis. He's exceptionally insecure, although he won't admit it. He seeks to justify what he knows is terrible behaviour and untrusting characteristics by saying, well, this person left, that person left. Riley, everybody's had relationships where they've been either cheated on, lied to, left. Some people have been left high and dry with 3 kids, 4 kids. Some people have been told children they thought were biologically theirs are not. Far worse has happened to other people. But you'd never know it from Riley talking. He thinks the worst has happened to him, and therefore he's justified in behaving in the way that he does. And finally, he's abusive and physically intimidating. He gets right up into people's faces. He jabs his finger at people. He doesn't let them speak, he talks over them. And he talks in barely controlled rage. And the worst thing is, he can flip between being completely nice and completely normal and loving into this raging bull at the click of a finger. It's actually unbelievable, and they're the reasons I don't really care for Riley. Anyway guys, rant over. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think this is the end of the road for this couple now? I certainly do. It looks like Violet is over and out, and I think the only reason she is she's just realised I cannot be around this man for more than, 24, 48 hours without a big argument happening. How am I supposed to long this out for 4 years while I'm getting my papers through? She knows she can't, and therein lays the problem. That's why I think she's over and out. So guys, put your comments down below and I'll get on with another video. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.